Hello and welcome to the Tournament Capital of Ontario's 25th anniversary special. My name's Andrew Wood. 25 years ago, Brantford made a promise, a commitment to the athletes young and old of their community, that they would have a place where they're able to learn and play safely, and that athletes would be supported throughout their entire journey. Joining me today are two very important members of the Brantford Sports Council, Bill Harding and Pat Shewchuk. How are you both doing today?
Excellent. Thank you for having us.
Very well, thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yes, of course. Now, first, I feel it's important to fill the viewers in on the origins of being declared the tournament capital of Ontario. So please, can you please tell me how this all got started?
Well, back in 1997, I was doing some research, read an article that profiled Brantford with Kamloops, BC, and BC had become the tournament capital of BC. And I thought, we could do that here. So I gathered some information and started to go out to the community to find out if everyone would be interested in doing something like that. And it was well received. I had a meeting September of 1997 with about 30 people, and they all enjoyed the idea, welcomed the opportunity, and they said, let's just get going on it. So then we went to the City Council in May 25th, 1998. They read a resolution into the city, and it be supporting the efforts of the committee to go forward with the Tournament Capital of Ontario declaration. Then we went to the the MPP of the day, which was Ron Johnson, and he read a private member's bill into the legislature on June the 4th, declaring that Brantford was indeed the tournament capital of Ontario, and then it really started. So that's how it really began.
Okay, good to know. And now I feel we'd be remiss to not talk about the Brantford Sports Council itself, because they play a huge role in all of this. So would you be able to explain for the viewers what exactly the Brantford Sports Council is and what you guys do?
I will throw that over to Bill since he is the chair of that organization.
So yeah, the Brantford Sports Council has been in existence since 2005 as a sports council. Prior to that, it was the Brantford Minor Sports Association. And since 2005, that started with 14 founding members, which included all the major sports, and baseball, soccer, football, swimming, figure skating, track and field, et cetera, so all of our major sports communities as well. And from that, we have continued to work and support all the local activities that take place in the community. So we work with all the various agencies, municipalities, et cetera. So we're a collaboration of sports organizations that work cooperatively for the best interests of sport and development of sport in our community. It's just not about individuals, it's organizations, teams, and a whole community engagement. Mm-hmm. So we continued doing that, and we've continued to do that. Obviously, it was a difficult time between 2017 and 21 with COVID, but I think most of us are now past that, and I think most people are back on the road to whatever the new normal will be, and we're excited about what the future holds for sport and sport development in our community.
Oh, that's wonderful. But you did touch upon, the fact that COVID heavily impacted sports in Brantford. Would you be able to go into a little bit more detail of how you managed to overcome that giant barrier?
Well, I don't know that we overcame it as much as the organizations locally at the grassroots level had a number of challenges which they faced, and which they did, mm-hmm. along with support as much as we could garner from municipalities and other organizations. It was a challenging time because, as most people know, that the legislation would come down with some new rules and regulations on a Thursday, Friday for implementation on Monday. So everyone kept on running around changing things. So I think we're past that now. I think that whatever that new normal is, you just can't push the restart button and have everything start over again.
No,
it's not.
Can't.
So all the organizations are working diligently to regain their registrations, their volunteers. Like everybody suffered through COVID, not just sports groups, everybody, the whole community. So I think there's that engagement's out there now. It's great to see the young kids out there playing sports, which they haven't had the opportunity. Some of them have never played a sport if they were 6, 7-year-old, because that's just happening now. So I think the future looks well. All of our groups are actively participating, including our affiliate members. We have, I didn't mention that earlier, but we have a number of affiliate members like Laurier and Swim Club, etc., that are part and parcel of what we do as well. And we run a variety of things that help promote and support what they do. So we deal a lot with all of the various businesses and activities in the community to keep it at the forefront of sport development.
Okay, and now pretty quickly, we have a little less than a minute. Did everybody agree on the decision to make Brantford the tournament capital of Ontario, or was there some resistance?
In the beginning, I think people just thought it was a pretentious title to have for our community. But when I talked to them, I engaged with them and asked them, like, how long have you been involved with the organization you are? Do you run tournaments? Do you bring people here? And they all said yes. And I said, well, if we have so many dedicated volunteers and those people put on these amazing tournaments, and year after year the tournaments grow, then we are the tournament capital of Ontario. So it's a self-pride, but as people got the concept of the idea, they already knew we were doing everything, and it just was an opportunity to grow in what we were doing, and everybody start to work together. I did forget to mention that the city supported early on the TCO, and that was, we went to the MP at the day was Jane Stewart. She gave the city a year grant. I was hired on that contract, and after that was completed, then the city hired me on as the tournament capital coordinator to continue the growth and development of the TCO in Brantford. So it's been well supported by the city from day one.
Okay, now we're going to go into the first speech of the night of the 25th anniversary celebration, made by MP Larry Brock.
I want to correct something, and my good friend Richard Carpenter often reminds me about this. Whenever the phrase dignitary comes up, he reminds me, and it's absolutely correct, there's no such thing as an official dignitary, because when you choose public office, you choose a path of service, and we are servants. And I became a servant to the province roughly 18, 19 years ago, when I decided to leave private practice in my law office and join the Crown Attorney's office. And for the last 2 years, I have been absolutely humbled to be your servant in Ottawa. So when I got the invitation for this particular event, I struggled to find some content because I didn't know too much about Brantford being the tournament capital. Growing up in this city, I knew that every single year we would see tournament after tournament after tournament, but I didn't know that for 25 years we held that moniker. And regardless of the fact that it's self-proclaimed, I think we have lived up to the tournament capital moniker very well. And I want to thank particularly the city of Brantford back in 1998 of having that foresight and that ability to foreshadow what this community could do for our sporting scene and to put Brantford on the map. So what I want to do is, although Parliament is not sitting right now, and in fact that the anniversary was really May the 25th, 1998. My intention is when I return to Parliament in September is I want to get an opportunity of formally recognizing my hometown as being the tournament capital of Ontario and holding that for the past 25 years. And I want to share that with the community. I'll share that with the mayor, and I think it's appropriate that we do that. Thank you. It's such a magnificent, in my view, magnificent honor for my hometown to have this ability to call itself the tournament capital of Ontario. It has brought so many athletes, brought so many families. It has brought in some good economic dollars to our community. In turn, our community has met the challenge by improving our infrastructure with sporting events. Look at all the hotels that have sprung up literally in the last 10 years, and we still continue to grow. So my view is I'd like to overtake the Tournament Capital of Canada moniker from my colleague in Kamloops, BC, and I might have to arm wrestle him for that particular title, but I think we could be in the running for that. I probably could. So I want to say thank you on behalf of the Government of Canada, and as your Member of Parliament, it is my absolute honor and privilege to give greetings and to give congratulations, particularly to the Sport Council, the City of Brantford, the sponsors who put this together, the Wayne Gretzky Golf Course staff, everybody in attendance. Thank you so much for all that you have done. And on one final note, I should say, this is the first time in 2 years I've been able to do this. I can call upon our mayor, Kevin Davis, to join me.
Actually, it's John Sless is coming up on this.
Oh, is it John Sless?
Yeah, it's okay. He's more important than the mayor.
Oh, okay.
John,
I was looking forward to present a certificate
He's coming
to
up
Mayor
later.
Davis.
He's coming up.
All
later.
right,
He's
so,
good.
okay.
Well, I'm not coming now.
Oh, you're not coming up? Come on up, John. Come on up, John.
Twitter, ex-Twitter.
Thanks.
All right.
And welcome back. Now that we've mentioned, the origins of Brantford being named the tournament capital of Ontario, I'd like to actually talk about what has happened since Brantford has adopted that title. So please tell me, what has grown in Brantford in the last 25 years?
Well, there's been a lot of initiatives that have taken place over the years that I've been involved in it with Pat on the board and as a past chair, I guess. But more importantly, Pat can elaborate on all that. She was at the forefront of running a number of initiatives throughout the community and engaging the community, so I'll turn it over to Pat.
Well, some of the things that we did over the years, which were very successful in the community and hadn't been done before, is we created an Athlete of the Week program in partnership with the Expositor, and every week we would feature a young rising star, and whether it be from high school or public school, and told a little story about them, and obviously they were proud of what they accomplished. Another thing that we had done is we hosted monthly networking meetings, and those meetings were really, as the title says, networking, brought sport organizations, businesses, and anybody else in the community that was interested or was connected in sports together just to network with each other. We'd have speakers and different things like that. We also did a couple of major events. The TCO started, and they ran for 5 years, and we did the Brantford Day at the Blue Jays game, where we took busloads of people to Toronto, and we all went as a community and were profiled there. And we also did the Walter Gretzky Street Hockey Tournament, which lasted for 5 years as well. And in that is we actually won the Guinness record for that back in 2010.
Really?
Yes, for the largest street hockey tournament, and 205 teams and 2,096 participants. And that was achieved, and it's one of our successes over the years. We've also done the Goodyear Drive for Gold, where the Zamboni, Jimmy McNeil, we just lost him unfortunately, and he drove the Zamboni across Canada So it was another big project we were involved with. We were involved with the hometown hockey, and there was another one was the, I can't think of another one right now. The very first one we had was we created a calendar, very first year we started, so back in 2000, and we profiled all the elite athletes in our community, many of them in the sports hall, and had a big reception and sold the calendar, and it was a kind of a kickstart to some of the things we were able to achieve after that time. So a lot of good things happening. I'm sure I missed a few, but Bill could probably jump in because he was on our board. So
Yeah, Pat was also heavily engaged as I was, but she was engaged as a board member of the Community Sports Council's, not Community Sports Council, this Community
Canadian Sport Tourism Alliance.
Sports Tourism Alliance, that's a mouthful.
Yes.
But anyway, she was elected as a board member. The first board member is from a small community. It was always large communities, Toronto, Ottawa, London, and she was the first board member. And that was quite an accomplishment, and she got recognized, she doesn't like to talk about it, as one of the female ambassadors in sport in Canada.
Wow.
Back in 2009, 10, I think it was.
Yeah.
Anyway, she doesn't like to talk about that, but she was heavily engaged with that. And as was Walter Gretzky, that she was with at all of these initiatives. Walter is our ambassador, remained our ambassador, and will continue to be our ambassador for Brantford and TCO and all we do. And Pat's been instrumental in bringing all those connections to the TCO. So.
Okay, wow. It's so lovely to hear about all the ways you've decided to innovate with sports and really make the community feel involved. But now I think it's about time we go into the second speech during that 25th anniversary celebration done by MPP Will Boma.
It's an honor to be here today, but, it's interesting. I think what strikes me more and more, and I think that goes back to when I gave Dave birthday greetings a few years ago. And if you remember, I texted you and I said, happy birthday. And he wrote back and he said, I'm glad someone remembers who I am one day of the year. And I said, I think this is pre-COVID. And I said, I wanted to apologize. And he goes, for what? And I said, well, for all the times I contacted your office so full of piss and vinegar about something or another, and I can't even remember what I got myself so worked up about. And I just want to say I'm sorry. And he writes back and he goes, the most amazing part about this job is that it teaches you perspective. And it's absolutely true. And I appreciate that lesson because I carry it with me every day. And so when we're here today in this brand new facility on a historic renamed golf course named after Walter, you think about the fact that we stand on the shoulders of the people that have come before us. And that works its way through into how we view Indigenous relations and reconciliation and, the two-row wampum, like two nations moving together forward into perpetuity, not getting mixed up and getting one ahead of the other and fighting, but together. And, I see Mike sitting over there. We stand on the shoulders of the good work that was done before. I stand on the shoulders of Dave, stands on the shoulders of who came before him and who came before him, and Dave Newman and Brad Ward and Phil Gillies and Ron Johnson, and that's how these things get started. And then I just asked John Sless, and I said, "So John, I did a Hansard search, and I was looking for this declaration of Brantford being the tournament capital of Ontario," and he goes, "No, we just kind of self-declared it." And now we're celebrating the 25th anniversary of that self-declaration, and yet, I think as you were quoted, Mike, from Carmen, you didn't really know what you were doing. But there's a truth in if you build it, they will come. And if you say something about yourself and you say this is who we are, You can make that a reality. And this community did. And the fact that we get to enjoy so many incredible things, and we see that. And that's not just in sports, but sports is a big part of that. You know, it's in training and educating our youth. I just had a sit-down meeting with, and maybe I can't say this, I apologize in advance if I do, but the fact that we're going to be building a new high school, and Mayor, the chair of the Catholic board, says we'll be doing a groundbreaking in like a month or two. And he raised his eyebrows at me. But the fact that there's so many private businesses that are interested in being part of a new trades-focused high school, that he's asking me to ask the Minister of Education, which I have, for another $7 to $10 million, so we can make that even bigger. And that brings me back to the fact that the man sitting beside me is such a critical part of that. Because between you and Dave Renkema, the fact that you've dedicated your lives to raising our youth to have rewarding careers in the trades is so huge. And John Utley was such a huge part of that too. He's had to run. But the fact that this is happening in our community right now is so exciting. And I think about all those things too. And I think about the fact, what acts can we take today that will have that kind of an impact on our future? You know, when I see the leadership of City Council, not just in doing this, but in getting ready for a new hospital build. When I think about an entertainment core downtown with a new OHL hockey team here. You know, if we say these things today, we can make them a reality so that 25 years from now, you know, maybe they'll dust me off and bring me out in a wheelchair, and we can talk about who we were, but where we're going. I think it was Chuck Beach that taught me a long time ago that the best time to plant a tree is 25 years ago. But the second best time is today. But that's such a lesson that's so much bigger than trees and sports and teams. And so it's an absolute pleasure to be here today. So on behalf of the province of Ontario, it gives me great pleasure to congratulate the City of Brantford on being the tournament capital of Ontario, and that's from my office. So the Minister of Heritage, Tourism, Culture, and Sport couldn't be here, but he wanted me to express his congratulations, and so because they're old friends and they played football, not together, I'm going to call up our CAO, who's hiding in the back, trying to look invisible. Come on, Brian. So again, this says Certificate of Recognition. City of Brantford, congratulations on 25 years as Ontario's tournament capital. Your continued promotion of sport in the community improves the quality of life of local residents and visitors while reinforcing Ontario's reputation as a leader in sport. The Honourable Neil Lumsden, Minister of Tourism, Culture and Sport.
And welcome back. Okay, so considering that Brantford has had 25 years to be the tournament capital of Ontario, I'm sure there's been quite a bit of success stories and athletes that's come out of this city. Am I wrong?
No, Brantford has a rich history of athletes that have come out of this city, and I think it's the water more than anything. And we blame it on that. But yes, in terms of the sporting community, not just individuals, but teams and events, Brantford has been engaged at all levels of the local, provincial, regional, national, world, etc. We have a wide variety of athletes that have just competed in the Pan Am Games from Brantford. We have a wide variety of athletes that have participated in the Olympics from Brantford. Some very notable ones were the recent ones were Erica Polidori, who won the bronze with her world or international championships for at the Olympics, and also Garrett Riley, who was the sledge hockey silver medalist with his team, and they were both part of our tournament capital celebrations as well. So we have a rich history. We continue to build on that. we have a lot of young people still now being re-engaged in sport and accomplishments that will be with them for the rest of their lives. And we look forward to promoting and supporting all of that as well.
It's so sweet because, of course, going around Brantford, I don't think I've ever been to a place where I've casually heard people say, oh, that person, yeah, they're an Olympian, or they have trained in this sport for more than a decade. I really love seeing that. And speaking of great people, I recently heard of a certain great individual who recently broke a record in stilt walking.
Doug Hunt. Doug Hunt's been one of our huge supporters throughout the years, not just for us, but within the community and Participation House where he does that. But he won the stilt walking, or got a stilt walking Guinness Book of Records a number of years ago, 2005 or 6. And he's been training for months to do this, and he did that just this past weekend, October 21st, I believe it was, in Brantford at the Gretzky Center. And he broke the record on stilts, 55 feet,
Yeah.
walking 15 paces, whatever it was. And not only did he break the record, but he put Brantford on the map again.
Yeah, again. He has great in his name for a reason. It's unbelievable. I can't imagine getting on a pair of stilts that's higher than most buildings, but if anybody could do it, it's definitely Doug. And now, when it comes to Brantford right now, there has to be a few rising stars that you could think of, some athletes that we should really keep our eyes on. Are you able to name a few?
Oh, there's quite a few. I probably forget some names, but Jessica Larond, they just won the silver medalist for Canadian women's softball in Saskatchewan this past couple of months ago now, and they've qualified for the Pan Am Games apparently, or working on the Pan Am Games, and then we've got Erica Polidori, who again is qualified for the Pan Am Games on the Canadian national softball team. Not a rising star, but you have to go back and earn your spot, which she's done. So I call that's a rising star of a rising star. And then there's a number of young athletes that have participated in all of our different sports, and you can name a variety of them across hockey, across soccer, across figure skating. We have some of the very prestigious figure skaters training with Olympians here. So those are huge areas of development. Our synchronized swim and swim club have world record holders now, are qualifying for games. They were just over in Japan for the World Championships, and great showing. These are future Olympians that have trained and developed and worked through the Brantford system, from minor up through all levels of accomplishment.
Yeah, it's really inspiring to see, and they're all such nice people as well. But now it's time for the third speech of the night, which is done by none other than Mayor Kevin Davis.
Good evening, everybody. It's a great pleasure to be here. And as Larry was saying, yes, this is where the dignitaries come up. But as far as being mayor, you're only as strong as your team. And we have a great team here at Brantford, led by Brian Hutchings, a great sport person. Tremendous staff, many of whom are here, who you know. And of course, we have the city council team. And it's great tonight, a great attendance tonight. We have some of our newest councillor, Councillor Samuel from Ward 5. So, man, you have to stand up. And we also have Councillor Martin. It's still here. Yes, Councillor Martin. Of course, the city's longest-serving councillor, Councillor Richard Carpenter. The second longest serving councillor by a very short period of time, Councillor John Sloss. So I'm glad that the others kept their speeches short, and I'll fill the time up because this is such an important event, I actually brought notes. I don't usually speak from notes, but when it's an important event, I do. But I'm going to go both official, and then I'll tell you what it is I really think. So it'll be a combination. So, first of all, we're here tonight because the city of Brantford was named the tournament capital of Ontario. I guess it was kind of self-proclaimed in 1998. And it's a title we earned by hosting hundreds of local, regional, and government tournaments each year. Okay, that's the official version. How did we become the tournament capital of Ontario? One person had the vision. One person drove it. And it wouldn't have happened without her, and that was Pat Shewchuk. And then there were also some really great councillors back then. I think they probably were aldermen back then. And they recognized a good thing when they saw it, and they jumped on and supported it, 3 of whom are here tonight. And I'd like you to stand, please be recognized. Councillor Carpenter, Councillor John Sluss, and former Mayor Mike Hancock. So this celebration, it's a testament to our community's commitment to sports and recreation, and we showcase that every year by over 100 events, many of which draw national and international attention. And there's the official version. I'll tell you, and here is my version, and that's true. In fact, a few weeks ago, we had the seniors 55-plus games here. And a lot of us counselors, members of council, we got around the various events and talked to the participants. And it was easy because, they're my peer group. And what I heard consistently was not only how impressed they were with our city, the friendliness of our city, but by our sports facilities. And they were very impressed with that and how well organized the event was. And so to me, that spoke to why are we the tournament capital? Not just a great idea, but because we had the facilities and we're committed to building the facilities and great volunteers in this community that bring it together and organize these kinds of events that establish our pride and also assist us economically. And so, being the tournament capital of Ontario, though, I think I might say just one more thing about that. In terms of facilities, we of course continue to expand and improve our facilities. And of course, I had a tour of the Civic Center last week. You're going to be impressed when you see it in October. It's unbelievable. It is really breathing new life into that building, hopefully for another 30, 40 years. And then of course, we're continuing to evolve and address the sporting needs of our community. We're soon going to have in Southwest Brant a proper cricket pitch, which is proving to be one of the most popular sports. And I think I must have heard so many times during the seniors 55-plus games, pickleball courts. They love our pickleball courts and what we're doing with that. But it's not just about our facilities. It's not just about Pat's great idea. It's about who we are as a community. And that, being the tournament capital of Ontario, what I like about it is it speaks to our identity. And it's an identity that has reverberated through our community for decades. And that is fine appreciation of athleticism. Not just achieving athletic skill, but what athleticism does for us as individuals, our children, and our community. And that, of course, has this tremendous infrastructure around it. But even all the facilities I was talking about, and of course the crown jewel being the Wayne Gretzky Center, it would mean nothing without us being committed to sports and it being an important part of our lives and our community. And it also recognizes, not jump back to the official one, it also recognizes, being the Tournament Capital of Ontario, the fact that facilities, the people, the volunteers, the commitment, how important sports is in our community, but that we actually have, as a result of that, world-class athletes. And of course, led by Wayne Gretzky, the most famous hockey player in Canada. But Wayne is one of many, as we see in the Sports Hall of Fame, that give us pride of our community, proud of who we are as a people, proud of those of us who accomplish and excel at their chosen field and our facilities, and just how we're growing as a community. And so we're going to continue to be the Tournament Capital of Ontario. And yeah, we were self-declared to begin with, but now we have truly earned that moniker here in Ontario. No one disputes that we're the Tournament Capital of Ontario. And it also does this for City Council and City staff. It says sport is important, and being the Tournament Capital of Ontario is important for our community. And that means then when we make decisions about sports facilities, it doesn't get the top priority, but obviously it's given a lot of priority and consideration. And we're going to hear more about that later this year when we receive a report that talks about the possibility of a new arena here in Brantford to continue our fine sporting tradition and keep and retain the professional hockey team that we're going to have here in the fall. So, I think I've gone on long enough. Let's truly celebrate this great anniversary, 25 years as the Tournament Capital of Ontario, many more to come. One last acknowledgement, and so I said I had a certificate, and this is a certificate on behalf of the City Council and also the Mayor's Office and the corporation. And it's to Brantford Sports Council. And in particular, Bill, I'm going to call you up here to receive it. Come on. It would not have happened without Bill Harding, and well, more than just Bill, the Sports Council. We're blessed to have the Sports Council, an important part of our community, supporting and promoting sports and all the other things that you do in respect to even providing us advice in respect to new sporting facilities. As I said, we're very fortunate to have the Sports Council, and so it pleases me immensely to award this certificate, which says to the Brantford Sports Council, and to you, Bill, and in recognition of all those who are working in the Sports Council, in recognition of your ongoing efforts in promoting and supporting sports in the city of Brantford, and your hard work and dedication to the planning and preparation of the Tournament Capital of Ontario 25th anniversary celebration.
And welcome back. So we've talked so much about Brantford itself, but we did, of course, have a night, well, a whole day really, dedicated to celebrating the fact that Brantford being the Tournament Capital of Ontario, that was 25 years ago. So I want to ask about this event itself. How do you think it all went?
Well, to start with, we hosted a variety of activities that engaged all of our community partners and recognized Brantford as a Tournament Capital of Ontario, promoted that. The second part of that was the ongoing development at all levels, because we engaged all the different youth, sport, and dignitaries, I call them dignitaries, politicians, throughout the day. And that wasn't without the support and help of all of our community partners and the number of volunteers that were needed to put this all together. The ongoing part of this is to continue to promote this for the long term, and that's our challenge as we go forward. But the day was filled with a variety of initiatives that I'm going to turn it over to Pat, and she can explain some of the activities that went on during the day, because it was a fun-filled day, participated by with all of our community partners, but more importantly, the youth and families that attended.
Anyways, Pat.
Well, we had, it was a free event, so the whole afternoon was all free because we have so many great community supporters and partners. There were fun games for the kids to try out. There was the chess club was there with their giant
Chess pieces.
chess
yeah.
pieces,
giant
thank
chess
you.
pieces.
Yeah.
And so kids got to try that to see if they wanted to join that club. There was baseball, there was hockey, there was soccer. There was, as Bill mentioned, the groups came out to help support in their different genres or different sports. We had music, we had face painting. Rogers was there filming and interviewing people. We were so blessed to have great supporters like
And
Rogers.
free food.
Free food from Domino's. They did pizza. Giant Tiger donated hot dogs for everyone. They were a big hit, of course. Light TV and Hot Country were on site with games and gifts and prizes and whatever. They were interactive. Of course, Doug the Great was there entertaining everybody. We had mascots from Laurier Brantford, and Laurier donated some amazing prizes. We were grateful for that. And Brantford Bulldogs, they were there as well as our athletes that Bill mentioned earlier, Erica and Garrett, and these Rising Star kids. It was great to have everybody there. It was an amazing afternoon, supported by the community. A lot of people came out with families. Kids were having a great time. You saw a lot of
Face painting.
face painting. They were decorated. The kids were having a blast. So it was really a fun time.
And Doug Hunt actually changed uniforms 3
Yes,
times.
he did.
He was a hockey player.
Really?
He was a referee.
And a baseball.
He was a baseball guy.
Yeah.
So, and he had a whole series of things he would say related to those sports
Yeah.
and kids and engaging them. Yeah.
Yeah.
That shows just how much Doug Hunt is dedicated to his craft.
Oh, absolutely.
That man's an entertainer.
Absolutely. He is.
He loves seeing smiles on other people's faces.
And he was there. Anytime we have an event, Doug is probably the first one that offers his time and support to come out as well. So we were very lucky to have everyone that came out, the public. Some of the dignitaries showed up during the day as well. It was a great event. Nighttime was very special for me in particular, because it really focused on the 25 years and memories that we created over the years with all these dignitaries that did great speeches. David McKee, our town crier, was out. He's at everything we invite him to as well. He's another amazing ambassador for this community. There was so many familiar faces. I usually say old, and then they say that's not the right word. It's familiar faces. And so people from the board members came back and interacted, and it was just an amazing evening. The only missing was Walter Gretzky, our greatest ambassador.
Of
So,
course,
yeah.
I could tell just from all over Brantford how much you all as a community care and just appreciated his support and everything he did.
Oh, and I was lucky enough to call him a friend. He was an amazing man and is missed so much by everybody.
Yes,
Yeah.
he seems like a great man.
Yeah.
And now we're going to be going to a video, but from Neil Lumsden, the Minister of Tourism, Culture, and Sport. Here it is.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Hey Hey everyone, my name is Neil Lumsden and I have the privilege and honor of being the Minister of Tourism, Culture and Sport here in Ontario. And I'd like to welcome everyone and thank the Brantford Sports Council for doing what they've done to have the designation of Brantford being the tournament capital of Ontario. And 25 years, think about that. Well, I'm going to think about the next 25 years, and they continue to do all the great things that they've already established and continue to do for everyone across this province, and further about staging and creating opportunity to host events right here in Brantford. Now, as I mentioned, my ministry is tourism, culture, and sport, but I've added something to it because I really believe, and I believe strongly, based on my background and my years as an athlete and coaching for over 35 years in the communities, whether it be football or hockey, that culture is part of tourism, culture is part of culture, and certainly culture is part of sport. And I think when you establish within a community like Brantford has done a great culture for hosting, it resonates, not only just across Ontario, but across the country and into the United States. And culture these days is so important in everything we do. It's a way, you know what, it's about how you think and how you do things. And Brantford clearly has been doing things great. I speak fairly passionately at a lot of times about culture because I believe in it. And culture means you have great leadership, you have great community, and you have great volunteers and involvement in doing something that is important to everyone. So when people come to Brantford, they know the support is going to be there. There is the leadership. There is a massive group of volunteers that love to be part of hosting. A great example is the 55 plus senior games that just happened right here in Brantford. And thanks to the leadership group and my colleague, MPP Will Boma, for all they do to help make Brantford the tournament capital of Ontario. But when we talk about leadership, I have to talk about Walter Gretzky. I mean, the guy behind me was a leader and understands more about culture than most people based on his experience both on and off the ice. And Walter extended that within the community. And his ability to reach people and touch people was second to none. And here's a fun little story for you. Many years ago when I had my own business, Drive Marketing, we created events and we did a lot of development around strategies. And we had an event called the Canadian National Pond Hockey Championships, and it ran for about 10 years up in Deerhurst Resort in Huntsville. And we asked Walter if he would come up and be the honorary coach for at least 1 year. And the tournament ran at the end of January, early February, and over 2 weekends, we had close to 300 teams participate. But it was a little different. It wasn't a normal hockey tournament. It was outdoors. It was like the pictures we've seen of Walter and his son Wayne in the backyard, outdoors, learning the game. And when we created a stage, Walter came up with his team, a wonderful group of people, and spent the weekend with us. And the funny story was we were up in Deerhurst Resort having a coffee, and all of a sudden people said, well, where's Walter? And we could oversee the rinks from where we were sitting. And we looked down, and he had gone down on his own. And now the games were on at this point, because the games were 2 15-minute halves. And as he walked down the middle, the game stopped, and people started to come over. And he went over and engaged in everybody. Games didn't matter, the guys who were playing, and trust me, they all wanted to play and compete. But when Walter Gretzky walked down the middle of those rinks, time stopped. The respect they have for him, his family, and what he represents to hockey and a community is second to none, and they knew it. And they wanted to have a couple minutes to just say hi. You want to talk about impact? That's impact. Anytime you look at pictures like this of Walter and the thousands of people that he's come across and supported in sport, makes us all reflect of our own families and what we've done. And you know, this is incredible. I mean, this one page doesn't come close to representing what he did within his community. But there are a couple pictures that remind me, one being in a golf tournament in Brantford once. His foursome was behind the one I was playing in. And every time we looked back, there was Walter in the rough, running through the rough, getting his ball in because it was the best ball, so everyone goes to the best ball. And there he is. He was in remarkably good shape. I was surprised to see him fly around the golf course like that. But, you know, so many others, just what he has done, the family pictures, where his name was put on a street, the Walter Gretzky. It really is remarkable, and can't lose sight of so many pictures of him with kids in minor sport. It's incredible, whether it's trophy, whether it's practices. It's amazing. It really is.
Welcome back. Now, our time together is nearly coming to a close, so I want to ask about the future of Brantford. So, what does the future look like for the tournament capital of Ontario?
Well, I think there's a number of initiatives that will be being looked at for the future. And it's just not next year or 2 years, it's 5 and 10 years out. And being able to build that and have that legacy continue as Brantford is the tournament capital of Ontario.
Of course.
And the key part for me is build on our reputation, but continue to build on our community engagements with all of our community partners. Volunteers, for example, are the lifeblood of what we do. Everyone's engaged in sport and or culture. I combine them in their lives, regardless of who you are. It impacts on all of us. And I challenge everyone to get engaged. Do what you want to do. You don't have to. You can be on a board. You can work for your employer. You can do events. You can do your own. But we will be here to help you to do that. And that's what the Sports Council and the TCO will be working towards. The city has done a major study back in 2019 for the task force report about the importance of sport and the development of sport in our community, not just the economic impact of it, but in terms of lifestyle, et cetera, in the community. Brantford has been blessed with a number of organizations that continue to work hard in the community, and we also have a number of new employers and new employees. The ethnic culture is here. It's been here for several years, and I think we've embraced all of that. And those sports, the biggest sports right now, are surprisingly cricket, lacrosse, and pickleball. Go figure. And soccer's always there as well. But all these sports are available. I challenge everyone to go out with your families, find ways to engage with those organizations or run events. It's just not about being part of an association. Run your own events, run your corporate events. Let the TCO support what you do. And we're there for you as a sports council and as the tournament capital of Ontario.
That's so sweet to see how much the Sports Council is willing to support their civilians, organizations. I can really see why sports is so ingrained with this community is because you're all so accepting of different ideas. It's wonderful to see. And now what I would like to know is that we found out that the Brantford Bulldogs are back in the OHL. So
In Brantford.
Exactly.
Brantford.
They're back in Brantford. So I'd love to know, what does this mean for the tournament capital of Ontario?
You know, the Bulldogs organization is a very big community supporter. They were in Hamilton and they are in Brantford. It's been great to see our Civic Center with over 3,000 people there for the games. And it's great to be able to see their engagement in terms of what they do with their operational groups in terms of supporting locally and their foundation, which we have had some discussions with, and what the future looks like. They have a great number of young, talented hockey players here, obviously. They've got a great team. They've got a great organization. They've got a history. And they've welcomed Brantford with open arms, and Brantford's welcomed them with open arms. And I think it's been great to see this mature over the next few years. And we want to keep them here. And we're going to find ways to do that. I know that there's lots of discussions taking place that are not at my pay grade, but to do that. And but we will continue to support what they do and how we can best integrate our activities with them.
It's lovely to see them finally coming back home to Brantford. And I'm glad that you guys are welcoming back with open arms. But now, for our final segment of the celebration, we're going to be ending with a speech done by none other than Bill Harding himself. Take a look.
A special thank to all those that made this last 90 days and today what it is, what it was, and what it's going to be.
we put this all together in 90 days, and it took a lot of team and support, and I'm going to miss somebody when I say who they are, but today is a special celebration. And some people here tonight have been with this thing for a long time, and I wanted to thank all of you for being part of this, but more importantly, thank those that are with us tonight for their dedication, their commitment to our community throughout the years. And that, we've talked about that a lot, but that's so important, and I can't thank them enough for leaving this legacy for us to go forward with. The last part is the staff, Emma and Jeff, the pro here, and their team went out of the way to support what we do. You don't know all the stuff that goes on in the background. Ella would know all that because she just came off the 55 games, and those things are very important to have that team working for you. Our committee, Josh and Trevor and Pat and Patty Berardi and Chris, Jason Laurent, all of our team, and I won't forget Pat. I got something special to say about Pat. And all the volunteers. This doesn't work without volunteers. It's always a challenge, but we've got a lot of young people that came out and volunteered today, and that's great. We want to nurture that. We want to continue to develop that. We need volunteers at all levels. All members and sponsors, of course. And I'm supposed to remind you, if you haven't already, there's a gift to be picked up at the door when you leave. Pat made me put that special note in, or else she would have really berated me later. So that's at the door to leave if you haven't got it already. And then last on my list is Walter Gretzky. Walter has been one of our cornerstones in Brantford, and he's left his legacy and in all we do. And the pictures don't say enough, but it's true. And on that basis, he's with us. That legacy's there. Let's continue on. And special recognition to my partner in crime, Pat Shewchuk. She's the key to the ingredient of today, and has been a driving force in developing programs and representing Brantford as the tournament capital to Ontario throughout the last 15 years and up to today. And I've had the opportunity to travel with her and Walter across the province in doing that, and I'm grateful. Pat mentioned to me today, we were talking over the last couple of weeks, and we said, you know what, we've done this for a long time, but she did say our tanks are not quite empty yet, so watch out, okay?